What is good, my Impact Wrestling fam? Welcome to another episode of TNAIW Reaction right here on the TNAIW channel. My name is Geoff, and I want to thank you for pressing play, hitting subscribe, almost to 400, one fan at a time, one friend at a time. No paper tickets here, so we thank you guys for helping us there. If you came for this show, if you came for Go Power Rankings on Tuesdays, which will be back this week, had a little technical difficulty. Maybe TNA 2K, which comes back Wednesday. We're going to do a bracketology to deliver the news on the X Division tournament we're about to hit. So I'm excited about that as well, but I appreciate you guys. I thank you. And we're going to make this a little more, I don't want to say interactive, but the reason I do this show, obviously, I want to shoot the shit about Impact Wrestling for 20 minutes or so a week at least. I would love to do more, but you guys know the deal. But I want to be talking to you, and that's the point. We do this, the live show about once a month now, and that gives me an opportunity to live chat with you guys. But now we're going to change the format of this just a little bit to make it more free-flowing. Still have some good conversation. I guess it's not conversation if it's just me talking to a screen. But we are bringing back the comments weekly. So I'll try to hit 4 or 5 or whatever you guys give me. I appreciate you guys. I thank you. And I want that to be seen. And I want to answer you guys directly instead of typing away, right? So we're going to start this off, besides for the plugs and the ramblings there. I want to talk about things I missed, because there's a few things. I've actually been watching my shows back for the first time in a long time. So there's things like, oh, I wish I said that, or I meant to say it this way. And there's going to be a lot of those, right? But as far as things I missed, this goes for this goes for the pay-per-view. So I guess the Slammiversary was last, right? Kenny King, bow tie, we get it, stripper Kenny. Still think Hendry's the heel there. We'll get to that. But I never shout out Rhett Titus, man. All Night Express. Kenny King with the bow tie and no All Night Express mention. I have to mention that. Last week I mentioned, why is Sabin so mad at Leo? He took his belt straight up. He beat him. But he also came out and attacked Shelly, so there's that as well. So I missed that. And last but not least, 2 weeks ago, I had quite an interesting episode, according to you guys. As we do, transparent, honest, unbiased, and told how I felt. I felt it was a 7 rated show. What does that mean? Who gives a shit? But I will rate after this as well. But one of the things I did want to mention was, and of course I mentioned that as well, I'm not making excuses, but obviously they're writing 52 weeks of television, they're right off of pay-per-view, so production had more time to spit shine it. We mentioned those things over the last week or so. But equipment and traveling as well. I didn't think about that. Hey, maybe you don't bring the backdrops and all the TVs and all the great stuff when you're in Canada. We saw it back this week, so that's why I mention it. Anywho, let's move on. So that's the shit I missed. If I missed anything else, I'm sure you guys will let me know. Looking forward to hearing about it. This Impact on Access TV I thought was really good. I'm not going to jump the shark here. I'll make sure I mention my ratings after I talk about it. But I'm going to talk pretty quickly through it. Go figure. Geoff talking quickly. But I want to make sure each week I hit up Impact on Access TV without giving a in-depth review of it. I'll give you my rating on it and my feelings, hit up some news, and then hit up your comments. So that's where we're playing into. So first off, I want to give a shout out to the crowd there. I'm really falling more and more in love with the Chicago crowd. Cicero Stadium, which is great because we're heading to Bound for Glory there. So it's good to see the crowd loves the product. We'll get to it in a moment because this is where Trinity debuted as well. So I think there's some really cool moments that were made there, some history that was made there, and that'll continue into the first segment. But shout out to not only the crowd, but Adam Page, who was sitting past the right-hand turnbuckle on hard cam. Check it out. Let me know if you look if I'm stretching here, but he looked like him. First, we're going to go to something that I thought, and this was one of those things I mentioned on the 7 rated 2 weeks ago post-Slammiversary show. This is the kind of segment that should have opened the show. Shoulda, coulda, woulda, right? But we're doing it here, and that's one of the reasons I'm going to give this episode a great rating. It's not about who I like. It's not about preferences. I love all the talent, to be honest, and if they're utilized the way they should be, they all have a really good part in the show. But we're going to open with Trinity, who is the world champion, specifically for the knockouts, but she draws. She's bigger than just pigeonholing her into being the Knockouts champion. She is the world champion, and she's killing it, man. And the crowd's into it. That's something I'll mention as well that I missed. I will admit that, and I didn't say it last week, but Trinity and Deanna are trying to melt the cameras or something. I don't really know, trying to get me in trouble at home. But adios mio, man. Both looking like stars, talking like stars, walking like stars, performing like stars. And they did that last week. They're going to do it again this week. And what a segment. Because this is not, I'll take that back. It's not a segments. This took up 25 minutes, no commercial on my end. I watch on YouTube. So an Impact on Access TV, I'm sure it took more. I don't want to hit too much on the Coven, but the Coven are going to come out. And the reason I say that is because one of you mentioned in the comments about the Coven, and I want to talk on them a little more. But I love that they're picking up the win here. They are the ex-champions, not getting their title shot just yet. The rematch clause, if I'm not mistaken, unless I missed something. So keep them hot. And you don't have to do that trope of the two faces, or, well, the two, faces in this case, a little bit, winning, but I always think a good tag team, or a great tag team in this case, will always beat two individual singles greatness. And that happens here, which I love, man. Keeping the Coven strong, which once again I'll talk about in a second. But Trinity and Deanna were pushing that for emergence. Both looking great, as I said, both sounding great, performing great, even in street clothes, we'll call them. But yeah, man, this was a 2-segment, at least 25-minute time on my end, and I thought this was great. Great way to start the show, great way to get your stars out there, and kill a lot of birds with one stone. I thought they did a great job of doing that. And they're going to bookend this show with stars. I mean, the whole show is great, but we're going to continue. Next up, tag tournament. They're going to this tag tournament, and I'm very excited about it because, one, as we just mentioned, the Coven in the Knockouts tag division, the men's tag division is stepping up as well. And I don't think it's the individuals are stepping up. I think the bookings behind it, I said that before, as you get more time, as you get some more depth in other divisions, as maybe that budget opens up a little bit, you can have more tag teams that are defined tag teams. And in this case, we're rocking with 4 that I think are great. I said this was a crutch before, or some kind of tournament, or Bound for Glory series, or whatever it may be, things that write themselves. Crutch seems, is a negative connotation to it. But I mean that from a writing standpoint, it's not a bad thing. 52 weeks of television. Always got to keep it entertaining. And things like this, although tropes or whatever you want to call them, crutches, whatever, are important for wrestling. They're part of wrestling. They're loved. Do you want a battle royal every week? No. But can you use one here and there to make it and make it feel special and add some built-in storylines simply by just using it? Yes. And I don't know why I jumped to battle royal, but you get what I'm talking about. I hope. Next up, I want to point out Alicia and Eddie, and the reason for this is Alicia's going to do her thing. I guess they're done with the Kazarians for now. Jody Threat's going to be the next person, her crosshairs. But the reason I mention this, and this is on the television side, little thing I noticed, but everyone, and it doesn't matter who it is, how big the star, how great the star, you notice when the heel in the face, or the people that are having their moment on camera, say stuff, especially in backstage, and they start whispering off like they're background extras. There's a reason in TV, I get that, but at the same time, in Impact, I don't know, maybe it's elsewhere too, but very recognizable, very noticeable that they're just doing this thing. So shout out to Alicia and Eddie for continuing to talk shit and make it seem realistic. I love that. Next up, Heath is doing his DDP thing, which I enjoy, man. Look, the rumor is that Heath is looking to get back to WWE, or at least that was in an interview recently. And his contract rolled over because of the injury, or got picked up. I don't know how it works. I'm in front of this camera, not behind those cameras. But for what Heath has done, and the niche he carved in here, and I think he came in hot, and he could have been even bigger than he ended up being for us, man. I have all the respect for Heath. What does it matter? But as a mark, this dude is a professional. He goes out there. He can always get the crowd into it. He always entertains. And say what you will, but him going out there and hitting the in this version, I'm going to butcher the damn name of it, but his version of what I'm going to call the diamond cutter, right? Because he comes out there, delivers a move, and plays with the crowd. It's enjoyable. It's something different to put on the show, and stays or not, I'm glad they're finding a place to carve a niche for him, a little something different to say, oh, that's Heath's segment, right? But this is going to be a straight-up match. This is the result of one of those things that happened on BTI. The wake-up call. Probably still wrong, but no, I thought it sounds right. He's going against Angels, and he's going to pick up the win over him. We'll talk about Angels in the comments. One of you mentioned him, so I don't want to, and he's obviously on the picture there, so I want to make sure we talk about him. Next up is Jake Something, who my challenge to Impact and Creative was to find something for him, to define Jake Something. And they gave him a little extra, a little something last week. This one's another, squash, but showcasing his skills, his raw agility, ability, athleticism. The dude is legit. I said last week, grow him out a mullet and call him Mike Awesome Part 2, because I wouldn't mind if you slapped maybe this is a reference at Judge Jeff Jones or something like that, like somebody on there, not him specifically, I think he works for AEW, but someone like that, obviously he was with Mike, but give him someone, not that has to talk for him per se, but a hype man to go out with him, add to the package that Jake Something is. Now, could they create a character for Jake Something? Sure. But at the end of the day, you don't want to take too much away from this guy who goes out there, his music hits, the crowd's into it, and he goes and, for lack of better terms, fucks shit up. There's a special niche or place you can carved out here for that type of dude. I thought W. Morrissey would have done that for us, and if he stayed, he could have been a main event player that did that on a weekly basis. And I think Jake Something can be the guy who picks that up and runs with it. Is it now? Is he going to be in the main event tomorrow? No. But can he start with maybe X Division, go to the DMC, and then move on? Yeah, I think in time, Jake can get there. And that's, not a really... He's got to bring ideas to the table, of course, I imagine. That's how it works. But they need to just put his package together. Is that a manager with him? Is that, whatever? I think the music's good, the look, So everything else is good. What is that something to get him over that next thing? Kenny King's going to retain his DMC, and of course they put Yuya in there as well to make it not that to take the weight of the loss off of Hendry and give Hendry something to be a little irritated about, right? He's not going to get a one-on-one. He had to go with Yuya as well in there, and they're showing Yuya's personality, and I like that, man. Look, we know there's a language barrier. It is what it is, but true charisma, true personality can shine through that. And we've talked about it, and I don't want to throw someone in here because he still has wonderful potential. It just needs, not only does he need that little something that Jake needs to put the package together, I think he needs someone with him to speak for him. And with Boopy, with Pinder, great talent, but needs those things around him to motivate it. Not motivate him, but to motivate us into buying in. You can't just be, clean babyface with the language barrier, unfortunately. So Yuya shining through despite that just shows kind of the difference that I'm trying to point out here. Is that, do I need to wrangle him in there? No, but I'm trying to make a point here that Yuya is just... I said this before he even got his colored trunks when he was a young lion. This dude is going to be an ace. He is going to be what Sonata was to us, which was, hey, take care of Sonata and treat him right, X Division champion. Let him move on and grow, and he did. Went back to Noah, and then went to New Japan, and look where he is. He's coming back to us as Emergence, a world heavyweight champion. And I think Yuya is in that line, man. And we can honestly do, and I liked how we treated Sonata for the most part. I think we could do even better for New Japan and Yuya when it's all said and done. The dude is talented. He's still my Super Saiyan Team Canada Bobby Roode. Love this kid. Love Kenny King as well. Glad he retains. Hendry's going to be just fine. He's got 14 kookaroos, man. He's fine. But Kenny King, the one thing I want to say, I eat, breathe, sleep, all things Kenny does. King, King. Love the new shirt. But could someone give him a couple hundred for some new trunks? The dude's a champion. He's got that leftover Tommy Dreamer material from the Dragon. Does anyone remember that? He was so proud to rip his shirt. Oh my god. Yeah, let's get the champ some trunks. Anywho, Gresham and Bailey still doing their thing. They're in the tournament. We didn't hear from Gresham last week after the I'm not happy with the rules thing. Do I want to work here? I guess they enticed him to work here. Opposite what Tony, we have Scott must have that little extra that Tony Khan doesn't have of smoothing things over with talent. But I'm guessing dangling a tag team title. We'll say that kayfabe is the reason Gresham is still under contract. I don't know, but he's still here. He's still not happy with the rules, but he's here. That's gonna play to something later, which smart. Didn't see him for a week. Kind of felt, and I was hoping it wasn't forgotten about. But I like what they did here. Because Impact does that well. I have to admit that. Not admit it like you're pulling it from me, but beginning, middle, and end. If Gresham and Bailey are friends, but, frenemies, rivals, best of 6, best of 5, what was it? And then tag team partners, you still got to address that. And having them together here and get screwed over and what this leads to, I think is a good thing for Gresham, man, who is someone I will continuously say is one of my favorite things to watch bell to bell. Like the smoke they added, by the way. Hopefully he doesn't choke on it. He's breathing everybody took off that mask, man. But anyways, good to see Gresham get his, and I hope it continues. Time Machine and Josh thought that was a nice little segment to push emergence. Kushida throwing in that maybe line at the end, which I thought was good. Death Dolls and Steve have a moment. Death Dolls want to be added to the tag division once again, building this tag division, keeping the Coven strong in the beginning, but all out of the title picture. You have Death Dolls here, who Steve wants to talk to for some reason or another, but they're doing their Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure shtick, which is cool. It takes them off of there. It gives them a little something to play with instead of just being Rosemary Havoc all the time. Entertains the fans. I enjoy it. But they're still relevant. And then you have MK Ultra and Giselle, who is featured on BTI, and Savannah getting their shot at emergence. So there's a lot of moving parts here. But once again, there's no tournament. But you could see all of the different tag teams that are in that Knockouts tag division, which, hey, we could not say that. Well, for a long time we couldn't because we didn't have the belts, but now we can say that. We couldn't say that consistently. And some of that was on Impact. Some of that was on, other things, how they work. And then some was, hey, we take 2-3 tag teams, we take 2 forward, 2 back, and it just is what it is. So I'm glad that it's hitting its stride. It's in a really cool place, and excited to see where it goes from here. And then the Rascals are going to advance by shenanigans. We got a little spray paint. We get a little roll-up with the trunks, plays into Gresham to give him still that, hey, everyone's rules suck. There are no rules kind of thing in this area, in this territory. So it does that. It advances the Rascals, who deserve to win all of this because the Rascals are just damn stars. And keeps Bailey, I don't want to say relevant, but in the main picture as well, who should never be out in some facet or form. The true, and this isn't me being a kiss ass, but it's me being real. The true all-star of this main event is PW Revolver. And I say it because of this. No matter if it was Macklin as champion, and we've talked about this multiple times where they kind of test the grounds there, get him ready for it, and then they give him the picture, the main shot here. But Sammy kept these. Let me get back to that. Jumping all around. We have no house shows currently, right? We have a few things here and there. I don't know if the UK things if those are going to be taped or not. We had the Australia, but those were taped. We generally tape all of our programming. Lets them work, on TV, which is great. But sometimes it's nice to figure out the things to keep them fresh, to get rid of the ring rust off of television. And the fact that the Rascals have been able to perform continuously outside of Impact, I mean, they come in and they look like, and of course they've been together for years, but hey, let's call a spade a spade. That was with the Rascals with, I was going to say Wesley, which it is, Desmond Xavier, Wesley. So now to have Trey and Wentz just pick it right up and look just seamless in doing it, obviously professionals, obviously stars. Shout out to them, man, Peter Up Your Revolver, for keeping it going. Good shit. Last but not least, we're going to head up on EY footage. EY is still alive. One of those things you can't always do because production behind this is just impeccable. There's different things. There's music. There's scripts. It's a nicely, but I'm guessing time-consumed package, which I loved. You know, what are you going to say? You're going to dip them in the Lake of Reincarnation. You're gonna put them in Lazarus Pit. You're going to send them to Undead Realm. Or are you just going to say, hey, man, I lived 1,000 lives, and I could keep this going? I like that for Eric Young. You don't need to have some mystical thing. It wouldn't be out of the realm of reality of Diener not getting the job done. Getting the job done. Loved a Diener, but you know. So I thought it was good for that. And look, this whole show was top to bottom, had everything that I thought was lacking a few weeks ago, which is character, depth, creativity, aesthetics. I like this show, and I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. What did you guys think about it? I thought it was really good. I want to keep on moving, though. They announced episode 1000 news. The beautiful people in Awesome Kong will be there. I will be there. Johnny will be there. Max will be there. It'll be an exciting time. They're going all out in episode 1000. And what I want to know, I'm not going to spend too much time on this because what am I going to talk about? Letting the pigeons loose for 15 minutes? I'm sure I could. And Awesome Kong, who I love to death. But it looks like episode 1000 is going to be something a little more special than just episode 1000. Lucha threw some things at me that were interesting. I want to know what you guys think. Who do you think? If I'll leave this challenge for you guys for next week's for comments. If there is one person or one entity that WWE allows to go to episode 1000, hands. Who do you think it'll be? Interesting. Last but not least, Multiverse 2 announcing some matches. TMDK against Eddie and Moose, Team Impact, which I like. We got other things popping off there. Alex Shelley defending against Tanahashi. And Emergence coming together too, man. So Impact going strong, hitting the stride. Let's see how they go into Bound for Glory, but rolling into Emergence, we're looking pretty damn good. Let's hit up the comments, guys. First up, Chris Zaletta, our buddy there. I want to make sure I mention him. This is on Twitter, though. Reaction from last week, my man. Solid reaction. Thanks, buddy. Do wish the heel run with him and Mickey would have happened. Talking about Aldis. Rascals ABC is going to be fun over these next few months. Thinks that's where it's headed. I believe that makes a lot of sense. Wish we got more from Dice. Okay. And I do feel like Option C is being a little overused. I agree. But we kind of just moved on from that, it seems, with Leo Rush. Thank you, Chris. Here's Sky's Blur. What's up, man? I didn't see last week's show, but like this week's episode aside from a few things. Hey, there you go. Swinger Dice match was just cringe. I understand. I'll just say that. Masha losing this fast after winning the KO tag titles just seemed rushed. They haven't even defended the titles yet, and they're already taking pins. Quickly on that, I think to hotshot Giselle and Savannah into Emergence and get that rolling, I thought it had to be done. Make it easy. They didn't need really crazy storyline to do it. Just, hey, we got to pin over Masha. Also, Masha's a star. We all recognize that. The indie crowd recognizes that. Impact fans recognize that. And L's, they don't matter as much as other places here, as long as you look strong in the L. And I think nothing weak. I didn't think Masha looked weak, but she did pick up the L. So is what it is. If Mickey doesn't return, who will Trinity face after she defeats Deanna? If she defeats Deanna, I think she will defeat Deanna. Who knows? Mickey, if it's not her, Jordan's saying a lot of stuff about, I won't be back for years. When usually people say that, it takes about 2 weeks and then it happens. So maybe it's Jordan. I don't know if she's coming back or this quickly to lose to Trinity, right? Where's Tasha Steelz at? Where's Tasha? Tasha making mention of coming back soon as well. So look out for that. Maybe Tasha comes in and has a program with her. I would like that for both of them. Gives Tasha the, hey, throw you back into something big right away, which she deserves. And they kind of did that originally and then tapered off. So I think this is the opportunity to do so. Thank you, Sky's Blur. Next up, our buddy Gary. Great video, Geoff. Thank you. This week's episode was a lot of fun. I think they should do a BFG series again, but they might have to do one for the knockouts too, since the ladies will want in on the fun as well. Plus, I agree with the Coven. Keep them together. Taylor Wilde and Kylan King do great work as a tag team. I agree with everything, and thank you, Gary, as always, my friend. BFG series, I don't care who gets it. Knockouts, X Division, tag. I'm losing my words. I'm choking on my own spit. But I will eat the BFG series for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The Coven, I'm saving it for this part because, look, as much as I said everything about Trinity and Deanna, walk, talk, wrestle, everything like stars, right? The Coven are the same. They both hold their own. Kylan is, I said this week after week, I'm going to continue to say it, is a star. Impact recognizes that. They're giving her the stick. It's showing her dimensions, the depth within her, what she can give when she's given the opportunity. And I thought from day one of her coming in here to now, she has looked nothing less of a star. Nothing but less of a star. But I enjoy it, man. I enjoyed them together, and I'm glad. I was worried that they might be kind of recognizing that and putting her away, but I like Taylor with her. I like that the look of them together. I like how cohesive they are. I love that they can wrestle in singles and still feel like a unit. They're the real deal, man. And they might be overall the best rounded tag team we've had from, I'll stick with knockouts, but for putting them together, man, this and just throwing them into the thrust of it, never tagged before, and putting them together, I mean, they can't miss. And having her talk and giving the ability to talk like that and then picking up a win over Deanna and Trinity is big stuff, man. It shows that Impact believes in them, and I'm happy. Because sometimes we get something that's great and then let's move on to the next thing quick because we want to use this person during their contract. Whatever, I get it. Business is business. But letting this, let's bet on the fact that Kylan would want to stay. And obviously she's here for a few years. I don't know what I'm talking about, I hope. But regardless, you sometimes want to feel that pressure to move someone out of a tag team and get the money worth out of them. But I still think they're getting their money's worth out of this. We're hitting that 30-minute mark. That's why. But yeah, I agree with you, man. And I'm so happy that they're on our screens, especially this week, taking up almost 30 minutes of it. Next, or last but not least, Millard, what's up, buddy? Another great show, Geoff. Thank you, guys. I like Angel's new direction. Maybe he could use a valet going forward. I could see a future encounter with the Fallen Angel with Daniels comes back home like all the other TNA wrestlers did. I still think that happens in the long term. I don't want to get too close in that comparison with Daniels, but I get it. Because there's a very thin line, and we've seen him before, and I won't name names, that just Dollar Tree Daniels, where it's like, I want to be, but I can't be. And my opinion of Alan Angels has changed drastically since day one here. I didn't know anything prior of him, besides other people's words, which I never base mine on, but I get to see him a little bit in VBD, and he's trying to find his groove and then the design. And I think he's starting to find it, and I really hope they do. They help him. I hope they nurture him and create a diamond out of him. But sometimes diamonds, well, not sometimes, all the time, they have to go through some bangs and bruises to get where they're shiny and bright and cut beautifully. And, look, you could tell he wants it. I don't know if he's pitching this, but he buys into the character. He puts money into his gear. He's getting the tan. He's getting the gimmicks. He's getting the body right. The kid wants it. And his matches, bell to bell, he doesn't miss, man. His moves sometimes, like, man, that's so smooth. But there's more to wrestling than just being smooth in the ring or wanting it. Does he have it? Who am I? I don't know. I will say this, though. I want him to have it. I want him to find it. And I think he's young, and he's doing the work he needs to. He's studying, you could tell, to do and be what he wants to be. And I hope that is a star for us. But I'm not a predictor. I do like the direction. Do I know if it's his final stage or the final evolution of Allen Angels? I don't think so. But I'm looking forward to whatever that may be. Because once they find the perfect thing for him, if it's a valet, which I think is a cool idea as well, add some, a little bit rock star sex appeal to him kind of thing. Cool. But we'll see. I want to thank you guys. I went over again. It's not the 20-minute shoot the shit show. It's a 30-minute shoot the shit show. But I thank you for rocking with me nonetheless. It is my exit cue. Make sure you hit like and subscribe. Check out everything that's going on this channel. Tuesdays with Go Power Rankings, Wednesdays with TNA 2K, and hopefully some Treehouse soon again. Put another season 3 out of that for you guys. Have a laugh and get back to enjoying professional wrestling. All right, guys, thank you. Make sure you hit up the comments so I can hit them up next week. I'll try to tighten this up so we hit that 20 minutes, but thank you once again. Thank you for coming out. God bless and good night. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.